Welcome to First. Welcome. All right. Hey, welcome to First Thursdays. Thank you so much for being here. It's a great crowd and exciting topic for sure. Before we get started, I just definitely want to thank a couple of our sponsors and folks making this possible today. So, and we'll take a minute for you guys to visit a little bit more as well. But I also want to thank all of our sponsors. We've got a couple new sponsors today, but PSO is our lead sponsor for First Thursdays. We appreciate that. And Carrie, I see you out there, and of course Jeff. And then we also want to thank Cavanta and TCC, McKeon Center for Creativity, PSO Wind Choice, Tracy, thank you, Grog's Green Barn, One Oak, Save Our Streams, and our new sponsors, Adam Minty and American Waste Control. Let's give them all a round of applause. All right. And it's their sponsorship that helps us put this program on for you. So we're always looking for new sponsors so that we can continue to grow this program and meet your needs. So we appreciate Adam Monte. I just see Teague right there. Thank you so much for just mentioning new sponsorship, and also American Waste Control. I saw a couple of folks from there as well that came in, so thank you so much. I also want to thank my board members that are here today. Aaron Larder, if you'll stand when I call your name. Aaron Larder, Matt Newman, Carrie Rowland, Mike Lemus, and James Williams. And if there's any, all right, Richard Cox. Let's give them a round of applause for their, and Mike Teague. All right, woo! Really, we couldn't do what we do without their leadership and support, so really appreciate that. And of course, my team, Megan Hurley, Sarah Hicks, and Jill Maud, and we also have Bridget with us today volunteering. So they're a great team. I'm very lucky to be working with them, so let's applaud them as well. And at that time, actually, I'll have Megan come up. She's going to give you a little update about our biggest fundraiser coming up in a couple weeks, Recharge, what we've got going on, and also about our next First Thursday. So, Megan?
Thank you, Corey. Hey, guys. I'm going to start with First Thursdays. Next month, I know we talked about it the last two First Thursdays, but next month we will be at Heirloom Rustic Ales at 6 p.m. So we won't be here during the afternoon, but we're going to try an evening event and see how that goes. They're going to give us a tour, and by next week we'll have the link online. So if you wanted to pre-order, they have a really cool beer menu. There you go. It's right up on the screen. It's on October 3rd. So Heirloom is over in the Kendall-Whittier district. They'll have a food truck out front by 5:30. So if you want to come after work and get something to eat. The menu that we'll have is actually all of their foraged ingredient beers. And they'll be talking more about that and what they do and their methods of sustainability and how they support other local businesses in Tulsa. So it's really exciting. We hope you come out. For those friends of yours and family members that cannot make it to this lunchtime, say they work in South Tulsa and they can't get here in time, this is a perfect time for them to come out and learn more about Sustainable Tulsa and what we do. So invite your friends. Okay, Recharge. We are about 2 weeks away, and we have a really awesome lineup for you guys. We have amazing caterers. We've got so much food. We've got great entertainment. We've got the Calliope Youth Circus that will be performing throughout the evening. So we have youths and adults performing together on stage. It's going to be really awesome. I've seen a few of their snippets. Our MC for the evening is Angela Evans. If you guys are familiar with her foodie blog or any of her Tulsa People articles, she's fun and witty, and she's going to be a great addition to our event. Great sponsors. We still have a couple of sponsorship opportunities available. So if you are a business out there and you're like, hey, I want to get some tickets to this thing and I'd like to see my logo, please see Corey or myself or Carrie Rowland. Carrie, raise your hand one more time. We will help you out with that. So we have a whole evening planned, and we're also going to be announcing the Bellman winners. The Bellman winners at the end of the evening. So lots of great silent auction items. Oklahoma Distilling Company is in here. We've got really cool stuff for you guys. So that is it on Recharge. Corey, take it away.
Thanks, Megan.
Yes, and lots of tickets for sale too. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So please join us and celebrate. And speaking of celebration, we just a couple weeks ago celebrated our scorecard final event, and we have lots of our members in here. And I do want to point out our two platinum level, which was OU Tulsa, Dr. Schumann. All right, and Shelly there. And PSO. So let's give them a round of applause. Oh, and One Oak. Sorry. One Oak. Okay, right here. So anyway, thank you. Lots of other members and also our coaches and things, so we couldn't do it without them. Just a little more information. If you want to have a booth here, Megan is your gal to reach out to, and we try to theme them, of course, with our speakers, but also our sponsors have an opportunity to have a booth there all the time. This is a busy month. This time of year, as you know, there's so many events and lots of things happening, but just wanted to give you a quick update on a couple things going on. We also have Monarch in the Mountains that's happening the day of Recharge, which is September 21st. And I think Rick Katarski, you're in the audience, raise your hand there, and he can give you a little more information. They also made a donation of some seeds today as a drawing and a bag of Zoodoo, as I understand. Okay, thank you for that compost. So it's one of your opportunities today. So that should be a great event as well to learn more about Monarchs and how to support them. Also, we have a new business that's coming into town called Eco Wood Solutions, and they have a ribbon cutting that's happening on September 30th, and this will be an opportunity for business to be able to recycle their wood waste, pallets, crates, and containers. So it's this exciting waste reduction opportunity for the Tulsa area, and I know a couple people were asking me about that, so we'll post something out there for folks. So that should be really interesting. They've just come to town. And then also something that's coming up is it's a restaurant week, and it kicks off at Mother Road Market, and this is to help feed kids that need extra food in their bellies at home. So anyway, that's going on, and we'll post that out there as well. So many great things going on to support our community and through sustainability efforts. Just this last week, I had the opportunity to go through a couple different cities and was in Colby, Kansas, and they had 10 Tesla charging stations. I hadn't seen that there the last time I went through. So today's topic is definitely timely and important to our community, and that innovation and technology and opportunities to help our community be more sustainable and to live a more sustainable life ourselves. So without further ado, I'm going to actually introduce both of our speakers so they can flow right into each other's topics. So we have Adrienne Janes. She's here with INCOG, and Adrienne Janes is the Alternative Fuels Planner for INCOG, where she works to prepare the Tulsa region and state for emerging on-road transportation technologies with an emphasis on transportation electrification. In this role, she also serves as the coordinator for Tulsa Area Clean Cities Coalition, a U.S. Department of Energy program hosted at INCOG. She's the founding member and serves on the executive committee for the Oklahoma Electric Vehicle Coalition, which brings together utilities, state and local government businesses, and car manufacturers to plan for increased use of electric vehicles in Oklahoma. She's the perfect person to speak today, I think. So also we have with us Jeff Brown with PSO. Jeff has 27 years of energy efficiency, economic and financial and regulatory experience. Currently, Jeff is the Energy Efficiency and Consumer Program Manager at PSO of Oklahoma. He manages over $35 million portfolio of energy efficiency and demand response program and coordinated by a team of 7 professionals working over a dozen implementations, marketing, and evaluation with companies. Since 1994, Jeff has held 2 other managerial positions with American Electric Power and the corporate planning and budgeting area. Jeff has a BS and MS degree in agricultural economics from Texas Tech University, and he's a certified energy manager. I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say about EVs and what we have coming down. So please help me welcome Adrienne Janes. You got it?
So I'm going to start with a couple of announcements too before we launch into the presentation. First, NCOG is working with Tulsa County oh, thanks.
Is it?
Says it's on. Is it on? Nope.
Is it on? Hold on. Sorry, guys. One moment.
You can read the announcement, so I don't have to read it to you.
Haha. There you go. Try. Try it again.
Is that better? Nope.
Did you push it off again? Try that. Try your mic, Jeff.
Okay, so NCOG and Tulsa County are looking at how we can set up a new program in Tulsa that was recently enacted by the legislature called Property Assessed Clean Energy Financing, and it is the program does not exist yet, but we are working on how we might be able to bring this program into existence, and so it is for properties that are zoned commercial in Tulsa County will be the first rollout, most likely. But if you're interested in learning about this new financing mechanism for how you can lower the upfront costs on energy efficiency projects, come on September 11th to NCOG. We have a lunch and learn happening.
Testing.
And then on your way to or from Monarchs on the Mountain, before you go to recharge, come out to Jinx and stop by our National Drive Electric Week event. It's going to be at the Riverwalk in Jinx. And in the past, when I've come, I've usually tried to bring a bunch of different electric vehicles for you guys to see. We didn't do that today. We have a few out there that people drove, and that's awesome. And you can probably take a look at them if you ask real nice. But if you want to drive some, we'll have a bunch available out at Riverwalk in Jinx on September 21st at Riverwalk, 11 to 2. There'll also be a similar event in Oklahoma City or in Arcadia at Pops on September 14th if you just need more driving in your life. So.
Your mic works now.
Oh, okay. Here I am. Okay, so electric vehicles. So just a little background, if you don't know what NCOG is, we are a voluntary association of local and tribal governments in the Tulsa metro area. We were established in 1967. There are 11 councils of government across Oklahoma and several hundred across the country. NCOG, we serve Creek, Osage, Rogers, Tulsa, and Wagner counties and the 50 cities and counties, or 50 cities and towns within those counties, as well as the Cherokee, Muskogee, and Osage nations. So we work together on collaborative regional planning efforts. So within NCOG, we have a little program called Clean Cities, and it is a part of a national program. The mission of Clean Cities is to enhance the economic, environmental, and energy security of the United States by working locally to advance affordable domestic transportation fuels, energy-efficient mobility systems, and other fuels-saving technologies and practices. So today we're going to focus on electric vehicles, but there's a lot of work we do, and so if you're interested in any of those technologies or ideas, I'd love to talk to you more about that. We do work a lot with fleets, so if you work for an organization that has a large fleet, I would love to talk to you about how we can reduce your energy use in your fleet. So these are all the Clean Cities coalitions across the country. There's about 100 of us. There's 2 within the state of Oklahoma, and we all work really well together. It's a great program. It's my favorite federal program. It's the one that employs me, but so I'm biased. But we all have our ears to the ground, and we are all plugged in our communities, but we all know each other really well. And so we just had our national meeting, and so we also know what's going on nationally. So if you have an interesting project or a vendor in mind, if I have never heard of them, I have 100 people I can ask who will give me an honest answer on if this is a good vehicle type to try or not. So love to give that information to you if it's helpful. So electric vehicles. There's 2 major kinds of electric vehicles people get confused about. Technically, there's more, but anyway, we'll talk about 2 today. So there's plug-in hybrids. Plug-in hybrids, unlike hybrids that have been around for years and years, they do plug in. They go a certain number of miles on a battery, and then they switch seamlessly over to running on gasoline, and they run more like a traditional hybrid. Then there's all-electric vehicles, which you cannot put gasoline in. There is no gas tank. They plug in, and that is their only source of fuel. So if you don't watch the EV market as closely as I do, it's easy to think it's a sort of a distant thing, or there's exciting things happening here and there, but you don't really see any of that happening in Tulsa. And so here's some of the EV market highlights that have come about recently. So from 2017 to 2018, EV sales increased 83%. So it was a big spike in sales. Over the last few years, auto manufacturers have announced more than $250 billion in investments to do research and development and marketing for electric vehicles and batteries. And cumulatively, those efforts are expected to yield about 200 electric vehicle models to be commercially available by 2020, which is next year. So I don't know. I think we're getting close. We're getting close. We are closer than you think we are, probably. So Bloomberg New Energy Finance says that 84% of all municipal bus sales globally will be electric by 2030, and I have some fun announcements about that have local impacts as well. OPEC recently increased its prediction, where previously they had predicted about 46 million EVs would be on the road globally by 2030 or by 2040. Now they've increased that to, they think, about 253 million electric vehicles will be on the road by 2040. So it's worldwide, yes. And then collectively, China, India, France, Germany, Britain, Netherlands, and Norway, which combined make up about half the world's car market, have taken steps to eliminate new sales or sales of new gasoline cars by 2040 or earlier. Now, that is a lot of countries to lump into one very small bullet point, and that is a very nuanced statement, so we're not going to see outright bans on internal combustion vehicles by 2040. It's a patchwork of, that means something different in every country. Some will be all electric, some will be plug-in hybrids, some will be hybrids. It is all of the above. What? Yep. And that will be very much market dependent and application dependent on a lot of different. It's all of the above. So this is kind of what the global EV battery. BEV is a battery electric vehicle, and PHEV is plug-in hybrid. So this is globally what that looks like. And so as you can see, the U.S. is not the largest market for electric vehicles. It's China. As with everything, China is the largest market. And so what we're seeing here is we are seeing substantial growth in the United States, but it's pretty well dwarfed by what we're seeing in China. In fact, the largest electric car manufacturer in the world is not Tesla. It is a Chinese company. And here is just sort of a timeline, a real quick overview of kind of what those investments look like and when we can start seeing more of the EVs on the road as they ramp up production. So as of this year, Volvo has committed to no more research and development on purely internal combustion vehicles. So all of their new research and development is going to be hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or electric starting this year. Jaguar Land Rover has made a similar commitment starting next year. By 2023, Ford says it's going to have 13 EVs, while GM says it's going to have 20. 2022 is when Nissan and Renault are looking at 12 electric vehicles, and Daimler is saying it's going to have 50 by that time, electric and hybrid. And then by 2025, BMW is looking at 12 new models, and then by 2030, Volkswagen claims it's going to have its entire fleet electrified. I will say, if you walk into a Volkswagen dealership today, you will not find, that will not be your experience. I tried it last week. So anyway, all right. But what can you buy? So these are the commercially available electric vehicles that were on the market as of June. And I've circled the ones that are not sedans because everyone's always like, well, I don't want a little bitty car. I drive a truck. I drive an SUV. So the SUVs are circled. There's a lot going on here, so I've circled them so you can see. These are all electric vehicles that are available right now. Some of these are tricky to get in Oklahoma because they're only sold in states that have rules that mandate the sale of electric vehicles. But some of these are fairly easily accessible here. The Bolt, the BMW, Jaguar, Audi, Tesla, those are all ones you can get fairly straightforward here. Oh, yep, and Porsche, yes, don't want to leave out Porsche. Okay, and so then these are all of the plug-in hybrid vehicles that are available commercially this year. And again, I've circled the ones that are not sedans. So we've got a minivan on this list, the Pacifica hybrid minivan. We've got lots of crossover SUVs and some full-size SUVs as well. And the prices range quite substantially, as do the battery ranges. And so what you can see here is the orange number on these is the all-electric range, and then the gray number is the total distance they can travel combined on electricity and gas. So altogether, that's 40 that are available in the United States. So we're well on the way to that 200 number. I looked for a global number of what's available. I couldn't really find a solid number of what's available around the world, but there was a lot that I hadn't heard of that are available in China and India and all over. Miles. Yeah, so a lot of these are designed to be commuter cars. So the average commute is not, and so it's not that bad. So even if you only have about a 20, like the Subaru Crosstrek is 17 miles, even if you only have that, you probably can make at least half of your commute on electricity, and you may or may not have an opportunity to plug in at work. Then you can charge up while you're parked at work, and then you can make the rest of your commute back on electricity. So you don't necessarily need that'll meet most of your needs. I know a lot of people with plug-in hybrids who say they have bought one tank of gas in a year. I saw a question over here. Yeah.
I drive a hybrid,
Uh-huh.
and I considered getting a very small camper, teardrop camper,
Yeah.
and they said you can't pull one of those with a hybrid. I would burn my motor out. So
Oh.
really, if I were a Volvo owner,
Uh-huh.
I'd have to switch brands if I wanted to drag a camper.
So a lot of EVs have great towing capacity, but it's like with many things, you can't make a whole generalization about it. So what I can say is if you're towing something, it will reduce your range quite substantially. So,
Just want to let you know, we do have a Q&A at the end.
yeah.
No, you're fine. We're just on a time crunch
Yeah.
to make sure we can give
Yeah.
you presentations, and we'll pass the mic so we can hear all the questions
Yeah.
too.
Okay, great. So trucks, there was no trucks on that list, but trucks are coming. Ford is working on a pickup truck by 2021. Another company, a startup company called Rivian, has a really cool truck. Some people love it, some people hate the look of it, but anyway, there it is. And then Tesla is promising a pickup truck too, but this blurry picture in the corner is the only one they've actually released. So if you've seen pictures of a Tesla truck, they're all concept cars that people are having fun with Photoshop with. So anyway, but any day now, or not, they'll release a picture of it. So trucks are coming, they're coming. Real quick, wanted to tell you this great tool, fueleconomy.gov. If you are looking at electric or any vehicle really, but specifically electric vehicles, it's a great tool as well. You can compare side by side the fuel economy cost to operate the car for 5 years, or to fuel the car for 5 years, how much you can expect to save or spend. And so here I've it's really blurry, you can't really see it. Anyway, fueleconomy.gov is a great tool. It also will give you the smog scores and how much petroleum you can expect to use in a year, all kind of things. So if you care about those sort of metrics in your car, check out fueleconomy.gov. It's a great tool for comparing different cars to each other to see what's going on. And then I've also done this quick comparison too. You can compare, so the Mitsubishi Outlander, for example, is a plug-in hybrid SUV, but it also comes as just a regular gasoline car as well. So you can compare, because you'll pay more for the plug-in hybrid version. So with this tool, you can compare what the cost to operate that car is if you don't get the plug-in hybrid version versus the plug-in hybrid. So there's a lot of different great analysis tools you can do if you're into it. So anyway. So real quick on EV charging, there's 3 different kinds of EV charging. I've said this to this group before, but I'm sure not all of you have been at all of it. So level 1 is just a standard wall socket. You can plug any electric car into any wall socket and it will charge it. It will take a while, maybe a couple days, depending on your battery size, but it will work. Then you can do level 2, which is a 240 volt outlet. It's kind of like a dryer outlet, that level of power. And depending on what you have, it will fill your car in about 4 to 8 hours, depending on your battery size and the level of charge you have and all range of factors. Then there's also DC fast charger, which is a lot faster and a lot more expensive, and that is only for public charging, kind of road trip situations. We have had quite a proliferation of charging across Oklahoma. There's more coming, but this is the ones that are that are currently installed or planned. The green ones are level 2, which is a bit slower. The orange ones are DC fast chargers, and the ones with a wrench on it are under construction or about to start construction. So even with that, that's a lot, but that's not as many gas stations as we have. So people always are saying, oh, I would love an EV, but where do I charge it? Well, the answer is you charge it at home. We have a lot of data that shows a home charger can meet about 90% of your needs. It's only those days where you're either on a road trip or have a lot of extra driving where you actually might need to charge around town. But for the most part, home, and if you can, a lot of workplaces are adding charging as well. Between those two, that'll meet most of your needs. And so this is just a quick snapshot of my personal electricity use before and after I bought an electric vehicle. There's a lot of other noise in there, so this is a really unscientific, extremely small sample size. But this is September 2017 and September 2018, kind of to show you the difference in my electricity usage. But September's also a hot month, and it can vary quite a bit, so I don't know. So I think maybe looking at the later months might be a better glimpse of what's going on there. And then these are my costs. So definitely an increase, but it's a heck of a lot less than I was paying in gas. Also, really quickly, we have a lot of stuff happening in Oklahoma that's really exciting. We now have a chapter of the Oklahoma Electric Auto Association, and Doug Duke over there is our president and founder. So if you have any questions about being an EV driver, he's also a great resource. We have the Oklahoma EV Coalition. We have the state is investing a lot of money in EV charging through the Volkswagen settlement. If you heard about Dieselgate a couple years ago, Volkswagen was cheating on their diesel emissions. So the state has allocated about $3 million of that settlement toward electric vehicle charging, and a lot of that's going to be installed by the end of this year. So we're starting to see a lot more chargers go in across the state. The state also has a 75% tax credit on EV charging. There's a lot of caveats there, but that is being reduced on December 31st down to 45%, but now's a great time to put in a charger. And this battery electric bus here, excuse me, sorry, Tulsa Transit just recently won a grant for four fully electric battery buses. So we will in Tulsa soon have probably 4 full-size transit buses running exclusively on electricity. So that's what's going on. I'm going to hand it over to Jeff, and you want to do questions at the very end? Corey? Yeah? Okay. There we go.
And then, Jeff, you want to just hit play on your remote? You're good.
I've stuck. Did you get it? Nope. I quit using PowerPoint. There we go.
All right, can everybody hear me all right? I think we got these, can't see me? I'd love to help that out, but 30 years I've been doing this, so it's been a little while. So yeah, my name's Jeff Brown. With Public Service Company of Oklahoma. When she introduced it, said I've been with the company since '94, so I tell you, 25 years goes by very quickly. So, but PSO's been a sponsor of Sustainable Tulsa for a number of years, and we've always been proud of this relationship. And so, I'm glad to be able to speak a little bit, talk a little bit about PSO and our sustainable efforts, and then talk a little bit about where we're doing with electric vehicles. So as most of you probably know, Public Service Company of Oklahoma is a publicly regulated utility. So when you think about public service, I mean, that's really what we're all about, is how can we partner with folks to increase the adoption of electric vehicles is one instance. We like to say we're your partner in power. So we really want to enable the market. We don't want to be the market. So that's kind of the direction we're going. So I want to also, like I mentioned, talk a little bit about our sustainability efforts, a little bit about electric consumption for homes. Adrian, I mean, we're lucky to have her here in Tulsa. She's a great resource for electric vehicles, and that load profile that she kind of showed of her own home is something that we're proud of because we have digital meters throughout the service territory that you can actually get on our website and see your usage clear down to the 15 minutes if you wanted to, and kind of see what that electric usage looks like. So talk a little bit about what we're doing in the EV market and to support the market, and then talk about some of those customer options. So PSO, you probably know this, but I just want to again kind of orient you to who PSO is. So, you know, we're here to serve the local communities, and that's really what we're after, to make sure that we are your partner in power. We have about 1,700 employees here in Oklahoma that are providing your service, and you can see there that in green is kind of our service territory. Sustainable efforts. So PSO is our parent company is AEP, American Electric Power, and AEP is, you know, really focused its mission on being an all-in type of utility, in the sense that we recognize that our customer base and population are really looking for that sustainable efforts from their utility to provide it, you know, power is environmentally friendly as we can. So AEP actually puts out a sustainability report, and the URL's there at aepsustainability.com. And you can kind of read through some of the things. It talks about our EV efforts. It talks about our wind and solar and other battery technology, that kind of thing, what our efforts are. And so I kind of point out the bottom left table there. It kind of talks about, you know, we're looking at how we can continue to increase our renewable effort. We're looking at battery technologies and how that would help our system. Matt Newman was talking about some efforts that they're looking at, and, you know, how we can support that effort. As well as when you get into the grid, we know that the more assets that are on the grid, the more feedback we get and provide you the kind of quality power that we want to provide, that we have to really make our grid more intelligent. We started that with our digital meters that we rolled out a couple of years ago, and we continue to add intelligence to that to really modernize that grid to be able to make sure that you're getting the quality of power that you deserve and you expect, because we know as you add solar and other things to the grid, it does have an effect on your customers around you. And then finally, you know, natural gas. It's the cleanest source of energy that we have, you know, outside of wind and renewable, but here in Oklahoma, so we still you know, use abundance of natural gas here to provide the power that we do. So cool, didn't realize I did that. So this chart is just to kind of show that from electric utility, we are really seeing our sales flat to declining. So any industry that you're in, you probably know that you want to grow your business. Well, the electric industry, we continue to see the graph there on the left is customer counts. We continue to see population growth and customers added, and this is over 3 different decades. So 2 of them's historical and 1 of them's a projection. So customer count continues to grow at about 0.5% a year. So you're building homes and adding to the population. And then there, the chart on the right is actually our use per customer. You drop back in the 60s or so, the customer usage was going up 5 to 8% a year because we were electrifying, you know, the U.S. and households. Well, 2 decades ago, we were growing at about 1% a year in usage. In the last decade, that usage pattern has kind of flattened out. So this is kind of saying, how much do you use on average as you average across all customers, residential customers? And then going forward, we think that usage will begin to decline at about 1% a year. So being the energy efficiency guy, you know, I think we're doing our job, but we continue to try to recognize that there's other technologies out there, like the electric vehicle, that's going to add load to our system. So we want to make sure that that as customers add electric vehicles or any other kind of electrification, that we're doing it in the most efficient manner possible. And that's, you know, really our job as energy efficiency folks for the companies, to make sure we can enable you to use our product in the most efficient manner possible. So Adrian kind of talked a little bit about this, but Bloomberg New Energy Finance provides projections on what they see, and this is a global picture looking at you know, what the electric vehicle adoption is going to be. So You have your internal combustion engine, which is the ICE, and then you have hybrid electric vehicles, and then a fully battery-operated electric vehicle. So they're looking at, as Adrian kind of mentioned, globally getting over 50% of sales by in the next 20 years. And so that's kind of what we're trying to prepare for, is how do we best serve customers when they add a significant amount of load to their home, because most charging will be done at home, but then we also want to support the rest of the market as well. So this here is a 24-hour load shape for our whole system. So when we think about how customers use energy, as you would imagine, the heat of the afternoon, 5 o'clock, that's when all air conditioners are generally running, and that's the largest capacity need that we have as a utility. So our whole idea is if we can incent folks to use energy off that peak time period, then it's more economical for us to provide it, therefore it's cheaper for you. And that's really what we're trying to do, is make sure that you're using it in the most affordable fashion possible. So we're trying to develop incentive plans to think about how we can help customers understand how that affects their cost of their bill and the cost of us providing electricity to them. So we talk a lot about on-peak period, and that's generally like 2 o'clock to in the afternoon to 7 in the evening. So any of you that might be power hours customers, which is a time of use rate or a time of day rate, that is the on-peak period. Well, we're looking at the same kind of concept for an electric vehicle type energy rate. So I like to show this graph off because it's something I'm kind of proud of is electric utility. So when you look around the country, the cost of electricity, PSO in Oklahoma is really one of the least cost electric providers in the country. I've seen things that say that Oklahoma's second in terms of lowest price electric cost. And this kind of gives you an example of what some folks that are paying for electricity in other parts of the country, which is a lot of the reason that you see the adoption heavily on the coast, because their cost of electricity is so expensive for California and the east and west coast. But we're pretty proud that our average electric price is a little over 7 cents when you go across all different customer types. So again, you think back to that graph on how EVs we want to make sure we incent them to stay off that peak period if we can. We know people will have to charge when they're traveling, but if we can get folks to charge that electric vehicle at night, that's better for us. And we want to make sure we're maintaining those low prices for you. So if we can maintain those low costs, then it's good for our industries and continues to grow the economy of Oklahoma. So customer solutions, as I mentioned, we're looking at an EV rate. So we're looking to file that. Probably will be sometime next year, and so that's one of the plans. It'll be sometime a time of day rate to incent folks to charge off peak. So we'll probably be providing a fairly significant discount if you're charging overnight. We've got an EV rebate, an electric vehicle charger level 2 rebate that's going to be coming out here in September. So as Adrian mentioned, there's different levels of charging. Well, one of the home charging is a level 2 charger. So we're looking at providing a rebate for folks that want to purchase a level 2 rebate. The idea there is that if you're charging at a level 2, it's a lot more efficient than charging at a level 1, and it charges a lot faster. So we want to be able to provide that opportunity for customers if they want to install a level 2 charger at their home. And then we're also looking at our new homes. So we do a new homes energy efficiency program. So we try to promote Energy Star homes, and it is made up of a number of different things, from air conditioners, duct ceilings, different things like that. But we're also looking at providing an incentive to provide the electrical service for a level 2 to be able to quickly install level 2 in your home. Other things that we're still working on is trying to figure out, how we're going to support the workplace market as well as the public charging market. Because we know those are things that other folks that we're working with now that are installing it, but we know that there's going to require certain kind of pricing provisions to really make sure we're growing that opportunity for you and for us as well. So this is just a slide of our rebates. So we're talking about this level 2 rebate that we're going to be offering. So you'll see some of these flyers or ads probably in social media coming soon. So we're looking at a $200 rebate for just a level 2 charger. And if you want to make it a level 2 smart charger, we'll add on another $50 to make a $250 rebate. So some of the things we're engaged in, we're obviously engaged with Adrian and INCOG and, being able to support the EV work that they're doing. We're doing work with others in the state to try to be there to provide service, as timely as we can to help this market along. But you also have to recognize that PSO is a public utility, and therefore all of our costs are pushed back to customers. So we have to be very cognizant of that how we're spending money, and know that this is a newly developing market. And so as it rolls out slowly, we have to recognize that we can't put a lot of money into that, even though we would like to, because it's going to grow our business. But we know that not everybody's going to adopt quickly. So we're trying to watch our budget as we go through things. We've been sponsoring ride and drive events. We've got a electric car charger that we take to a number of shows to kind of show people, how the car charger works. We're also going to walk the talk. We're looking at, we've got an EV plan for our fleet vehicles. So as fleet vehicles reach into life, we're looking at replacing those with electric vehicles. So going to try to walk the talk there. There's 2 websites that we've provided for customers that is an opportunity to learn more about the EV market. So one of them is at psoklahoma.com/save in residential, and then there's electric cars. So that's one site that you can go to, and we've got a little information about electric vehicles and some of the things that PSO is doing. And then we have our parent company has set up this energyconversionhub.com, and that's the screenshot here is a picture of that. It is a AEP utility. We're doing a lot of different research. We've got a partnership with Honda where we're looking at what do we do with the second life of batteries. Once they've reached end of life in a vehicle, what's going to happen to them? I know there's work being done in Oklahoma City to do that same thing, but we've got a partnership with Honda, and you can kind of read about that on this website as well. So a lot of comparison tools to use if you're so inclined. So I'll finish it up here with a little bit about renewable energy. So right now, PSO is about 22% wind is what we're providing our energy to, our energy source. A significant portion is still natural gas, but wind continues to grow. So in July, we made a filing at the Oklahoma Corporation Commission for what we're calling the North Central Energy Facilities or project. And here we're looking at making a $2 billion investment in Oklahoma. AEP is with our PSO and our sister companies, SWEPCO, that operates in Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. So this is a fairly significant investment in Oklahoma. I hope you recognize that at $2 billion. But again, that will take PSO from about 22% wind energy to about 40%. At the same time, this $2 billion investment we think will save customers over $1 billion over the life of, save Oklahoma customers over $1 billion in energy costs, because it's actually going to reduce our rates on average. And that's because you're taking and eliminating a fuel cost, which is a significant portion of your bill is just the fuel to power the power plant. So when you convert that to renewable energy, we're going to be able to lower these rates, even though it's a significant amount of investment. And if you want to be green, 100% renewable right now, you can do that through our wind choice. And we have a table over there that you can talk to folks there, so you can sign up to be 100% wind choice customers. Therefore, you can actually power your electric vehicle from completely from a renewable source, so there will be zero emissions from that.
And I do that, and it only added $5 to my bill. So my car is completely powered by wind, and it only costs $5 extra. So do it.
We're not doing much just yet. Thank you both very, very much. We're going to actually introduce our booth participants really quickly, and then we'll come back for questions, so that if you had some questions for some of these guys over here at this table, we'll do that, and then we will have our drawing at the end. So, one moment.
All right, thank you. Doug Duke with the Electric Auto Association. We're a new chapter. Oklahoma was one of the last states in the country to have one, so that's good that we need to do. But we're basically have a mission statement of acceleration of adoption of EVs, and we look to sort of be a buyer's advocate and expose more of the general public to EVs with the hopes that sales will pick up. The sales experience now for EVs in Oklahoma is not that good. If you're interested, you've been to a dealership and are interested in one. So we're looking to work with dealerships to try to make that more of a positive experience for people. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily Smith, also from NCOG with Adrian, and I also work in the Tulsa Area Clean Cities program.
I'm Nancy Graham. I'm the Air Quality Program Manager for NCOG. I'm here representing the Ozone Alert Program. Today is our second Ozone Alert Day for this season, so that's pretty good. We've had a good year, and we're still doing okay, but tomorrow is still to be determined as well.
Tracy Harper with PSO, and I have Christy Lee here, and we're talking about our Wind Choice program. So if you need any information on Wind Choice or want to know how to sign up, come see us after the event.
Hi, Levin Scotto with the City of Tulsa, Refuse and Recycling Program.
All right, I think that's it. And I'm a 100% Wind Choice customer, so do it.
There's a video on the Wind Choice website, and it's Corey. I pulled it up on Corey. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass, we've got this one mic that we're going to pass around. So if you raise your hand, and then we'll get the mic over to you, and then you'll speak, ask your question, and then we'll answer over here. So.
Yeah, I put in solar about 3 years ago. My sister did the same thing on her house, and I was trying to beat a deadline where PSO was going to charge us $120 a month for putting in solar as a surcharge. And the governor signed the bill, went through the House, the Senate, and then it finally got repealed in the final hours on the second round. But I was surprised to see PSO, charging us to put in solar when they talk about, trying to save energy and being green, and that just kind of slapped us both in the face. Could you kind of talk to that point?
Yeah, so I'm all about energy efficiency, but I'm not a solar expert. But yeah, so there's been some. I think that's part of the challenge as a public utility is working with the Oklahoma Corporation Commission, which is all great folks, but things don't happen quickly. And I know there's some new net metering rules that are changing right now, and I don't know how that any specific case works, but I can find out more about it because I know we have been doing some changes to some tariffs or some price plans related to net metering and that kind of thing. So.
Hi, my question is about the electric cars, the battery. How much is the lifetime for a battery for an electric car? How much is the actual cost to replace the battery? And is any sustainable way to dispose the battery? Thank you.
I'll take your last question first because it's the easiest. So yes, so actually batteries are recycled, and a lot of EV batteries and hybrid batteries from around the country actually end up in Oklahoma City to be recycled. What they're doing some really neat stuff to recondition those batteries and identify the cells that have gone bad, repackage them, and then send them out as remanufactured batteries to go back into an EV. Then they're also doing what is also happening is stationary storage applications. So once an EV battery depletes to about 80% of its original capacity, it's no longer a viable part of the car anymore because that 20% represents a pretty substantial chunk of your range. So you probably want a new battery after that. But it's still 80% useful. So what's being done with a lot of EV batteries now is they can be stacked and and charged, like Jeff was saying, off peak, so they can be paired with an electric vehicle charger, and so that those batteries can then be charged while no other vehicle is charging. And then when a car plugs in, because some of these chargers use a lot of power, and so the car can first charge, or the bus or whatever can first charge off of those batteries, and then help flatten out the costs of the electricity and demand on the grid. So that's a lot of the things that are, and then once they're completely useless, yes, there's a lot of research being done on recycling for the whole battery itself, to harvest those materials and reuse them again, because there's a lot of value in those raw materials as well. So yes, recycling. In terms of how long they last and how much it costs, don't believe anything about EVs you read that is dated more than 6 months from the day you're reading it, like in the past. So the industry is changing fast. The capacities are changing fast. The costs are changing fast. Every year, battery costs fall. They've fallen about 70% in the last couple of years, since 2010. The theory is once it costs about $100 per kilowatt hour to build a battery, at that point, then EVs and internal combustion vehicles will be the same price when you end up in the store. So you could buy an EV or an equivalent internal combustion vehicle for the same price. And once you walk out the door, the EV is going to outperform that internal combustion vehicle every time. They're way more fun to drive. They're really cheap to fuel. I was just doing some quick math based on Jeff's rates for what he was saying about the electricity costs. It costs about $2.40 to fully charge a Nissan Leaf. It costs about $6 to fully charge a Tesla. And so it's really cheap. And then they're really cheap to maintain. There's no spark plugs, there's no belts, there's no oil. So all those things that go wrong on your car don't go wrong on an EV. So battery costs are changing was the question you asked, and they're falling. So yeah, it depends. That's the answer.
I am a very happy provider of peak electricity to PSO through my solar rooftop array. And my questions are twofold. One is around solar, so you may not be able to answer it. But one of the most recent utility solar installations that I read about was in Idaho for about 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour. And so I'm wondering, since we have so much better irradiance here in Oklahoma, why we're not adding solar to our renewable energy mix for PSO. But my other question, which you mentioned you're not a solar expert, but my initial question is, what is PSO specifically doing in Oklahoma to modernize the portion of the grid beyond the meter, the distribution and supply portion of the grid? Thanks.
All right, those are some tough questions. Yeah, so from the solar standpoint, so PSO has to file with the company, or in part of our planning, we file with the Corporation Commission what we call our integrated resource plan. You can actually go out there and Google it and find it. But that plan does have solar in it. You know, we continue to kind of watch the solar prices as they come down to make sure that as we do it as a utility scale, that we're doing it to be able to match those costs, to keep costs as low as we can. So it is in the plan, and it's in the plan significantly. And I think, if I remember right, it's like 2 or 3 years out still that we're kind of looking at that. But we've got this big wind project that's going to fill a lot of our need, and right now that's been the most abundant and cheapest source that we have, so we kind of continue to go that route. Your second question.
Grid modernization.
Oh, so grid modernization, yes, awesome. Yeah, so we've done a number of things. So at the meter, we've got the AMI that we rolled out a couple of years ago. We're doing some what we call conservation voltage reduction. So engineers in here would probably love this because I can't explain it very well, but when you think about how electricity is delivered, it comes out of your substation at a certain voltage level, and it loses voltage over distance, and as it goes, through the different equipment to get to your home. So what we've been able to do to modernize it is we're actually putting some more technology out there to be able to communicate, to be able to levelize that voltage for customers. So you're getting a consistent voltage whether you're right next to the substation or you're at the very far end of a distribution line. And so once we can provide intelligence to that, what we call an electrical circuit or distribution line, then we can lower that circuit back down to where everybody's getting a good, nice, consistent pattern that's good for your equipment, and it saves you a little bit of energy as well. So that's adding intelligence to the grid. That also will enable us to understand feedback that happens when solar is on our system or other types of distributed generation resources, because a lot of those things will have feedback onto the system that may influence reliability, and we want to make sure we can understand that as well. There's other things, distributed automation that we continue to also roll out. It's making sure that we can minimize our outages and maintain the highest quality service that we can provide to you.
We have time for one more question, and G had her hand up way back there. So, she had it up first, and then way back. Yes, you. And then we're going to do a quick drawing. Thank you, guys.
So I actually had a couple of questions, but I guess I can pare down to just one and maybe come pick your brains afterwards. I am actually an EV driver, and part of what I wanted to ask about is I have a very short-range, early generation EV, and I've just moved to Tulsa, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work here. And so one of my big questions is, what plans are there to install level 3 charging stations? Because as a very short-range EV driver, my daily drive can actually very quickly deplete my battery. So I was curious to know, because as I understand it right now, there aren't any in Tulsa, and I'm curious to know what the plans are for installing them and what citizens like myself can do to sort of promote adoption and installation of those in and around Tulsa.
So there are 2 DC fast chargers that are currently under construction, with more on the way. So one is at the Reesers on Brookside, and another is at the Tandy Y near 51st and Yale. Both of those put in by Francis Solar. And there'll be several more going in this year as well around town. So yes, there aren't any, but actually there is one. Also, Myers-Duren Harley actually put in some fast chargers, because the electric Harley is coming out this month too. So if you're a motorcycle driver, I forgot to put that in there, but it's pretty fun. So yes, that's but I want to say one more thing. So electric vehicles are great, and I love them. But they're sort of, I was thinking about this morning, they're sort of the Impossible Burger of transportation. And if you're not familiar, the Impossible Burger is the vegetarian hamburger patty that tastes like meat. It's so good. I love them. However, beef production is only one part of the environmental impact of what we eat. And so it's a little, and it's not health food, the Impossible Burger. So there's a lot of environmental impacts tied up in our transportation system. And by swapping out your single occupancy vehicle for an electric one, that is a huge step, and you can really cut your carbon footprint that way. But don't forget, transit, biking, walking are all really, really, really important, because if we just swap out all of your vehicles that run on gas for electric vehicles, that only solves part of the problem with our transportation system. So EVs are great, but don't forget transit. Don't forget, I actually bike today. So even though I am an EV driver, I let my husband take the EV, and I rode my bike, because it's Ozone Alert Day, and it's a really important part of the system. So don't forget the other pieces that are really, really important.
As Corey makes her way up here, we're going to do a quick drawing. So we're going to start with the seeds, right? I'm going to read this whole thing. Let's see. Okay, Tulsa Zoo has their fall compost sale. It's the west end of the main zoo parking area. It is on Saturday, September 21st. So you're going to go to the zoo, and then you're going to go home and get ready for recharge, right? Yes. It's 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. while supplies last. A 5-gallon bucket is $20 for some sweet zoo poo. Yay! Zoo do, not poo. Do. Wait, what? $10. It says 20, but it's 10? What a steal! Okay, and then a front end loader full is 50? Is that correct? Okay, 50. So 10 for a 5-gallon bucket, and 50 for a front end loader full. So yay. And if you want more information, we will have Jay Ross's number over there at our sign-in table before you leave. So what we're going to draw for really quickly is Corey's going to draw. And we're going to do for this lovely compost that Rick brought today.
All right.
And money! Yay! She's right there, yeah. She's also going to be at Recharge along with the Tulsa Zoo and Oklahoma Aquarium. So Ann Money, thank you so much. Okay, this is it. We're going to draw for 2 tickets to Recharge. Are we doing separate or what? They're together, so you get a pair. It's not going to be separate. Pete Sandstead. Yes, did I say that right? Did they leave? No.
To be present to win, maybe?
Well, we're going to redraw then. Pete, calling Pete. Okay, no. All right, one more. That was a letdown. Sorry, hold on. Samantha Young from Gallagher. Are you here? Oh my gosh. Okay, one more. Adrian, your turn. You got the magic touch. I feel it.
One more time. Oh, well, of course.
Shelly Fowler. Yay! She gets 2 tickets to Recharge. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much for being here. And again, thank you to our sponsors, PSO, One Oak, Cavanta, TCC, and PSO Wind Choice, Grog's Green Barn, Save Our Streams, Adamanti, and American Waste Control. Thank you so much. We'll see you next month at Heirloom
Rustigale.
Okay, Rustigale. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You guys were awesome.